2 days ago, President Buhari agreed that technology should now be used to fight violence and crime in the southeast region of the country in the face of killings and attacks. Governor Hope Uzodimma was the one who got a commitment from the president in Abuja. But today in Owerri, the governor, convinced by the achievements and successes he says he has recorded in the last 3 years of his administration, especially in infrastructure and human capital development, presented his scorecard to the people of Imo State across party lines who are participants at the 7th edition of the Imo Stakeholders Meeting. Tonight, we'll be hearing more from the governor, Senator Hope Uzodimma, who joins us live from Owerri, the Imo State capital. Thank you, Your Excellency, for joining us tonight. It's good to see you, and Happy New Year to you. Let's begin the conversation tonight. If you look at, first and foremost, perhaps, let's take a leaf from the event of today. You're presenting a scorecard. But let me ask you, it's an election year. You will be, after the general election, your state and 2 other states will be going into governorship elections. Now, as of February 2020, the IGR of the state was about 1.2 billion, which you met in the region of about 900 million. But aside some of these things that you are reeling out today, what would you say is perhaps one of the most significant things that the people of Imo State can point their finger at that you have been able to do for them since assuming office over these 3 years?
Thank you, Sean. Well, today I tangentially presented my scorecard to Imo stakeholders in a well-organized and well-attended stakeholders forum. And I did presented the scorecard sector by sector. But among the achievements that I presented today, I recall in 2020 when I came here to become the governor of Imo State, we hardly had any road in this state that any vehicle can drive through and pass. The road infrastructure and other critical infrastructure were all broken down. All the roads in the state became death traps to our people. Our people were so impoverished. The level of poverty was very high. And what did we do? We did a comprehensive assessment of the exact situation of the state. We identified the critical roads with the economic and commercial viability and brought them out for immediate repair. I wrote out a mantra, my 3R mantra: reconstruction, rehabilitation, and recovery. So we did what I would consider the 3 most critical roads in the state, which actually formed the economic artery of our people, because we needed to recover the economy so that our people can become busy once more. We looked at the traffic between Owerri and Olo. Over the years, government after government made attempts to repair that road. But what they were able to do were just simple palliative measures. And it became very obvious that the road needed a comprehensive and permanent solution. So we brought a world-class company, Kremborg, and we borrowed courage to fund the construction of that road after obtaining an approval from the federal government, because the road is a federal road. And that road was commissioned last year by Mr. President. A journey that used to be 2-3 hours from Owerri to Olu now takes less than 30 minutes. In the same manner, we did the Owerri-Okigwe road, over 50 kilometers. We were able to complete the angle from Owerri up to Anga, which Mr. President also commissioned. In less than 2-3 months, the second segment will be completed and commissioned. Work is going on seriously on the 3rd road, which is Owerri to Umuahia, also a federal road, which we obtained approval to do. So we did this
I'd like to ask you, Governor, would you say you have done enough? Because the PDP is already talking about how they want to take you out of office and how they are prepared to meet with you on the field at the election later this year. Would you say you can face the people of Imo State and that you have done as much as you promised for you to get a re-election with them?
Well, 7 months PDP were in office before I came to Imo State to become the governor. And 7 months out of 3 years is almost 8 to 9% of the total duration. So when the engagement starts, they will point to me what they did in 7 months. And pro rata will assess comparable to what I was able to do in 3 years. So our people are not blind. Seeing is believing. So I'm not going to join issues with anybody. But I think I've earned the confidence of my people. And if you look at what happened today in that town hall meeting, speaker after speaker was full of eulogies for my performance, despite the hostility and the violent nature of opposition that greeted my administration for the last 3 months, 3 years. I was able to at least give a credible account for the period under review. So I'm not desperate, 1. 2, I'm not against being confronted by any opposition party. And when we get to the bridge, we'll cross it.
I understand. I mean, I know that you're also a coordinator for the APC presidential campaign in the Southeast. And as a leader of the APC in that region, you will have a lot of work to do in convincing the people of the Southeast to vote for your party. Aside that, you have, on one hand, thinking about your own re-election bid. So how do you, or what would you be telling the people of Imo State about Bola Tinubu? In the permutations that some analysts have said, Peter Obi, for example, perhaps would have had the Southeast on a lockdown.
Democracy is not about where you come from or who is your relation. Democracy, particularly as it is practiced in Nigeria, is partisan democracy. And what we talk about in a situation like this, you talk about your party and you discuss the ideology of your party, the manifesto of your party, their proposed programs and the policies. And ideologically, you take that to the people. The only way of knowing whether the people genuinely accept it is at the end of the election when the results are out. You will now know who voted for who and whose policy has been taken by the people. So it will be too early in the day for us to begin to do assessment who has occupied the space or who has not occupied the space. But like you know, I'm the coordinator for APC, and APC is my party. And of course, in all elections, in the Southeast, I'm running a unified campaign for APC candidates. So the campaign that is going for the presidential candidate is also the campaign that is going for the senatorial candidate, and up to the House of Reps and the House of Assembly. And that we are doing very diligently. And the people are taking our message, and our message is melting down into the society. So in order not to waste our time, I think the election is in a few weeks' time. The countdown is already there. So at the end of the election, we'll know who the people accepted and who the people did not accept. All we're asking
so you have the confidence that Bola Tinubu could win, for example, in Imo State?
If you listen to me today during my town hall meeting, everything I said that we were able to achieve in the last 3 years, and what President Muhammadu Buhari has been able to do in the Southeast for the last 7 years. The only way of saying, APC, we are happy for what you have done in the Southeast, is to encourage them to continue with the leadership of the country. So it is not about whether Bola Tinubu is from the same place with me or not. It's about the programs, and to the extent that the manifesto of our great party, APC, has convinced and endeared to the people. So I'm very confident that The party to beat in Nigeria is APC.
Yeah, Governor Uzodimma, I was asking you what you will be telling your people, because there should be something that you should be telling your people. There are other 17, there are 17 other presidential candidates on the ballot. I mean, how would you convince them that your candidate, Bola Tinubu, is better than the 17 of them? What are the 2 or 3 things that you think makes Bola Tinubu better than them?
Senator Bola Tinubu is the presidential candidate of APC, the party in power. From 1970, when the Civil War ended, the Igbos asked for a second Niger Bridge. Government after government came, made promises. It was not fulfilled. The last Christmas was greeted with jubilation. Igbos coming from outside Southeast, using the second Niger Bridge to come into the Southeast. That is even enough for the whole Igbos to vote for Buhari's legacy to continue. If you check off Port Harcourt to Enugu Road, the road at the time became impassable. Go there now and see what is going on. That road has been completed. Most of the federal roads in the Southeast has received sufficient attention and budgetary commission to the extent that what we suffered from in the last years is no longer what the situation is. As it has to do with Imo State, if not for the special intervention of Mr. President Muhammadu Buhari, by now there will be no Imo State, because the level of violence and banditry that visited this state for the period we are talking about, only the grace of God and the commitment of federal government and their support that rescued the state. If you come to Oguta, where maritime security was at a time, very serious. The place was greeted with illegal bunkering, crude oil theft, pipeline vandalization. It took the approval of Mr. President Buhari, to establish a naval base. In Oguta, which is the oil producing area of Imo State and Uzodimma, maritime security has been controlled and managed. If you come to Federal University of Technology, Owerri, under the Second Republic, efforts were made to establish a medical school in that university. At a time, we had a minister of education from Imo State. We had a minister of health from Imo State. They were not able to get this. Government after government made promises. 3 months ago, Mr. President Buhari, has established the upgrade of Federal Medical Center Owerri into University Teaching Hospital for students in Futo to use for their clinical trainings. This is something that you cannot discountenance. Have an equal quality of education. Recently has been upgraded by President Muhammadu Buhari into a University of Education. You know, it's a Federal University of Education. Having harvested, listen to me, having harvested all these benefits from the federal government under the leadership of APC, why are we not going to support APC? Why are we not going to vote for APC? Are we going to leave what we know and we have seen for what we cannot even imagine? What are you talking about, my friend? APC is the party to beat in the Southeast. And
let me take you to the area of security. Yeah, the area of security that you touched on. At several fora, you have alluded that the cause of these crimes and violence in your state are political in nature. And just a few days ago, a former governor, Hakim, was attacked, and policemen and some men in his convoy were killed. Now, how difficult is it to identify these politicians whom you have alluded to are behind this? You've gone to the president also to ask for a technological approach in solving the crime and violence in Imo State and in the southeast region of the country. Can you tell us and tell the people of Imo State tonight that these politicians, are they within or without? Are they Imolites or they are not from your state? What exactly is going on? What can you tell us? In the last 3 years, what do you know that you can tell the people of Imo State on the issue of the security?
Today, in my conversation with stakeholders in Imo State, I made it very clear that the events of the past have shown clearly that those behind the insecurity in Imo State are politicians. and that this insecurity is politically contrived. For instance, in that presentation which I did, tangentially, I came out with a clear position that all the people that have been attacked in Imo State, all the houses that have been burnt down are members of APC and those very close to my government. If you look at, there is no opposition party, no member of any other political party that has been attacked in Imo State. No member of any other opposition party that his house has been burnt down. And this has continued to happen. You just mentioned of that of the former governor, Imo Hakim. 3 days after he summoned a special dinner of Imo stakeholders, encouraged them to support the government of APC. 2 days after, he was attacked and his security chiefs, details, killed. So I have presented this matter to Imo people. And of late, arrests have been made, some arrests have been made, some of the kingpins. So I've challenged the security agents in Imo State to make public, as soon as possible, the report of that investigation, and those behind these killings in Imo State be named. And they're going to do just that. I'm not going to pretend about that. I'm not going to play politics with the security of Imo State. Those who are behind this thing must be brought to book.
Well, I mean, when you ask for technological approach or gadgets to fight crime in yours, what exactly were you talking about? Is it satellite in nature? Are these mobile gadgets? What kind of technology are you referring to, or did you get permission or commitment of the president?
All over the world, all over the world, technology has taken over. Some of the fight against security now are technologically based, and modern technologies are there. If the bandits are in the bush, we have technology to see where they are. If the bandits are meeting anywhere, we have technologies to see where they meet or know how they meet. There are so many technologies now. There are some technologies now that is meant for some special crimes, like the one happening in Imo State. We've been able to work with security agents and manufacturers to identify the appropriate ones for Imo State. And that is what Mr. President has approved and has also supported us to procure. I don't want to begin to publicly tell you the name of the technology, the type of technology, whatever it is that will make crime in Imo State to be brought under control. I think we are supporting it. But if you want the details of the technology, you can visit the security agents and they will explain to you better. But mine, I'm the governor of Imo State, and I'm working with them, supporting them, funding them to ensure that they succeed in their fight against crime in Imo State.
Governor Uzodimma, to wrap up this conversation with you tonight, a lot of citizens of Imo State, whether home and abroad, are watching tonight, and they're wondering some of the things that you said you have done past administration that they've not been able to do, but you said you have done, and you gave the scorecard to the people of the state today. But let me ask you, in your inner mind, what kind of legacy do you think you want to leave behind? I mean, going into the next election, it's a gamble. It's either you win or you lose. But in this very first phase that you have entered into, what legacy would you say you want to leave behind as governor of Imo State?
Even as I speak with you, the Imo State I met in January 2020 and the Imo State of January 2022, they're not the same. In fact, they can be best described as the day and the night. The Imo State of 2020 when I came was like the night. The Imo State of today is like the day. And I have tabulated all the achievements we've recorded, verifiable. And I've also challenged the people to go and find that. If I say we did 40-kilometer roads in your community, go and check whether it is 40-kilometer road. If we did whatever in so-and-so area, go and check. So I have identified and named all the projects we've done, all the dividends of democracy we've provided. The issue of poverty and crime in Imo State, genuinely, we've done our best to fight poverty by one. We are struggling and making sure we're empowering our youths. We are creating job opportunities. We are reducing hunger. We are reducing poverty. We are making sure people are gainfully employed by encouraging private investments through public-private partnership. We are revamping the industries that have been moribund for years to create employment opportunities. We are supporting security agencies to go to work and do their job. We have renewed and restructured the civil service, rehabilitated all the infrastructure, created a new motivation, and the people are now happy because the sense of security in their offices came back. So we're making life gradually easy for our people, reducing poverty, building the economy, strengthening the revenue system of revenue generation in form of IGR. So we are doing a lot, but we need peace, more importantly. I also informed the stakeholders today that we are spending a lot of money fighting insecurity. And this insecurity is avoidable. If you go to other parts of the country, yes, we have seen banditry, we have seen terrorism, but not at the pace and level the thing is happening in Imo State. Ours are just unthinkable, that people can wake up, plan on how to go and attack people's homes, burn down their homes, kill important personalities, just to put fear into people, to make Imo State ungovernable. And what are we governing? I've stayed here for 3 years. The remaining tenure for 4 years, which is the first time, is 1 year. So this thing you've not been able to destroy for 3 years. Why can't you repent and know that it is not possible and God has not allowed it?
Governor Uzodimma, thank you so much indeed. The Executive Governor of Imo State, Senator Hope Uzodimma, speaking with us live from Owerri, the Imo State capital. Thank you so much indeed, Your Excellency, for your time tonight.
Thank you, Shehu. Thank you.
Appreciate it.